If you as an executive were to make a study of one of your operations, and the findings were to show that it was operating at 30% efficiency, well, you'd probably blow your stack, and you'd certainly do something about it. Well, here is such an operation. It's called listening, and extensive studies have shown that people absorb a scant 30% of what they hear. Not true of you? Of course not. As a manager, you probably do at least twice as well as the average, retain somewhere around 60% of what you hear. But what about that missing 40%? What could it mean to your effectiveness, to your advancement? This first segment of the record is designed to improve measurably your listening ability. That's why it comes first, and that's why it's important that you listen as well as you know how to all that follows. First, there is a single key to why people fail to listen so that they grasp all they hear. It is simply this: most Americans speak at the rate of about 125 words per minute, and they think, here's the problem, they think at least 4 times as fast. Result, 1/4 of the listening mind is occupied with what is being said, the other 3/4 is unoccupied, and the devil quickly finds work for an unoccupied mind. If the listener disagrees with what he is hearing, 75% of his mind busies itself drawing up counter-arguments to what the speaker says, and while so doing, misses half of what is said. Of course, if he agrees with what's being said, he wanders ahead, anticipating the speaker and missing any real differences between the speaker's views and his own. Have you been listening to me? If you have, if you've been using the unoccupied 75% of your mind's time properly, you may have already guessed the key to effective listening. Use the excess capacity of your mind to constantly analyze what is being said. Even if the speaker is boring, don't use the excess capacity to plan that weekend fishing trip. He may make one good point, or he may inadvertently reveal an important piece of information. Here in dialogue form are 4 important tasks for the excess capacity of your mind while listening. First, listen to this sales manager discussing territory realignment.
This section of Michigan is too big for one man to cover efficiently. There are too many widespread market centers. Weather's bad 6 months of the year. Fred Worthington, the man in the territory, is over 60 years old, and the volume doesn't justify a well-manned divisional office.
Job number 1 for the excess capacity of your mind: screen out the irrelevant. Constantly analyze what is being said to isolate that which is not relevant to the main burden of the discussion. Did you spot it in what the sales manager said? Of course, the age of the salesman really has nothing to do with the proper size of a territory. A younger man might well cover it all efficiently, but the other 3 points were relevant to the discussion. So use your mind's unoccupied time constantly to analyze what it is hearing. Point number 2. Use it to weigh what is being said against what you already know to be facts. Listen to this product manager making a pitch to have his pet product introduced to the New York City market.
We know we're now getting 40% of the available business in southern New England and 38% of the Indiana-Ohio potential. Let's take an average. 39% of the New York market would amount to roughly $700,000 a year. Now, I say the net profit on that is worth going after.
Does everything that product manager said or implied square with what you know? Of course not. He implied that the New York market was comparable to that of southern New England or the Middle West. Every businessman knows this is far from fact, and that the product manager's argument, as he put it, is totally fallacious. Next point. Listen for what the speaker is not saying. Here's a divisional manager of a large company speaking on next year's plans.
It's my prediction that we'll do over $1 million next year with this product. Results on test marketing are now in, and they're completely satisfactory. We can produce the quantities we expect to sell with the new machinery now on order, and the new personnel already hired or committed to us. Well, we'll double the sales force by March in order to effectively market the quantities planned for. Advertising has been seen and okayed by all of us, and we'll hit the media next month. Gentlemen, I think you'll agree that we have a winner.
Do you agree? I don't, at least not on the basis of what he said, because that divisional manager did not say one important thing. Did you notice that with each point but one, he carefully explained how or why it would be achieved? The omission, how the sales force would be doubled. Anyone who has ever tried to double a sales force, unless it was 2 men to begin with, knows it is a challenging task, fraught with every kind of pitfall. Finally, make use of your mind's unoccupied time to assess the speaker's own emotional commitments. Here's a production manager.
The new scheduling may seem a little tight at first, but I'm sure you'll all agree that we'll have a much cleaner, more efficient operation. Production service to each of you will remain the same, but these steps, large volume purchasing, better long-range planning, will ultimately benefit the whole company.
Probably every experienced manager gets a nervous feeling at that kind of talk. No doubt the production manager's operation will be much cleaner and more efficient on the operating statement. But will production service to other departments suffer? It's surely something to worry about, because you can clearly spot the production manager's emotional commitment to his department's performance. Dare I point out here that even if your listening skill is double the national average, you have missed 40% of what you have just listened to. Then may I suggest that you listen to this segment of the Execu-Disc once more before going on to the others. This has been a Nation's Business presentation.